Let's go now to Matt Canavan. There was a story overnight that Mini Cooper, you know, those famous cars from the Italian Job, are moving all their electrical vehicle production to one of those, climate-friendly nation. Oh, China!
Oh!
Matt, great to see you. How are you? Where are you?
There
There he is, like magic. There you go. Matt.
It's always great at the Emu Park markets. Great to be with you on a fantastic Queensland Sunday morning.
We're jealous, Matt. We're jealous. Emu Park, fantastic markets. Now, you brought this story to our attention. I'm puzzled, Matt, because you seem to see some kind of contradiction between BMW's stated aims to improve their renewables credentials. Talk us through it.
Well, Rowan, I love this story because it highlights the two key features of the massive scam that is net zero emissions. The first one is that net zero emissions is a massive fraud propagated by large corporations to hide their otherwise somewhat embarrassing profit-making activities. So you had BMW here just 2 years ago, on the 24th of August 2020, make a big splash saying they're committed to net zero, they're going to get 100% of their power needs from renewable sources by 2050. And that was trumpeted by all these groups and fellow travellers, gullible people in the West saying, yep, isn't it great, BMW are on board with net zero emissions. Just 2 years later, they're taking all the jobs out of the West, out of Britain, and taking them to China, as you say, who are building the world's largest amount of coal-fired power stations in the world, about 187 being built right now in China. And this is the other more important feature of net zero emissions, because net zero emissions is also a massive plot by countries like China to de-industrialise the West, weaken ourselves and strengthen them. And they've achieved that because they've convinced all these gullible people in the West that, yeah, we should shut down our industry, we should no longer produce reliable power, and everything will be great, the planet will cool, and we'll turn back the tides. And then all that happens is you take all those jobs, you transfer all the jobs from the West to other countries that mean to do us harm. And so, this is a little bit funny, this story, but it's also deadly serious because we are de-industrialising our Western nations, and if we keep going down this path, we just won't be able to defend ourselves.
Matt, talk to us about the methane, the 30% methane cut. I mean, James has been talking about the war on farmers. This is a war on farmers. Holland, Sri Lanka, Germany, New Zealand. It's coming to Australia. What can you do to stop it?
Well, we've got to fight back against it, and I think the key thing we've got to do is ask the Australian people, do you want to eat red meat in 10 years' time or do you don't? Do you want to be able to order a steak and chips and salad at the local pub, or do you want to have some cricket flour? Your choice, and we should have a clear choice. So what we've got to do on my side of politics is stand up for you, stand up for the farmers and present a clear alternative to the Australian people that you can vote for a steak by voting for the LNP. If you want to have a steak, if you want to have your chips and salad on the side too, vote for the LNP because we will fight back against this madness. Now, what I would love to see, you won't probably see it, but I'd love to see a journalist ask Chris Bowen, how much methane does a cow emit every year? How much? You reckon he'd know it? It's 100 kilograms. That's the figure. And so based on their ridiculous science about methane causing greenhouse gas emissions, the average farmer with a $30 carbon tax, if that's sort of the rough price of buying these magic pills or whatever it is they need to do, culling the herd, a 1,000-head cattle farmer will be up for $70,000 a year, just on a $30 carbon price, but it's probably going to be a lot more than that. So this is a massive hit to our nation's farmers that the Labor Party would not have done the sums on, but they're going to weaponise every local council in this country, especially the Green councils, to clamp down on farmers. Every bank and corporation will be the same. Every woke corporation will be making our farmers' life hard, and that's going to mean it's going to be much more difficult for you to have your barbecue on a great Sunday day in a place like Queensland. You should move up here. Barbecues, the meat tastes better in Queensland.
Well, you're right. That's precisely what's going to happen. The bureaucracy, the Green councils, they're going to use this target to make life even harder for farmers. But the LNP really isn't that much different, are they? You've signed up to net zero. What are we voting for?
I heard your comments before, and I agree with you. I agree with you very much, Rita, that if we are going to present a credible alternative, we have to drop net zero emissions. It was a mad idea to sign up to this absurdity. It's already being dropped, if not in name, in practice in Europe, with Germany opening up 21 coal-fired power stations, with the UK fracking, China building coal-fired power stations like they're going out of fashion. and they're not. They're actually not going out of fashion. So why don't we just drop it? Why don't we join the rest of the world now and drop this and present this clear alternative? Because you're absolutely right. While ever we're committed to net zero emissions, we still have to answer the question, well, hang on, if you're not going to shut down our stakes in the next 10 years, you're committed to do it by 2050.
Exactly.
So how are you any different from the Labor Party? You're just going to make us starve slower. So we've got to do that. I know there's some number of committed people in the coalition to try and get us to return to land of common sense, which is defending Western values, making sure we defend Western industry, and most of all, making sure we do not succumb to the pressure that's being imposed on the West by dictatorial authoritarian regimes like the Chinese Communist Party and Vladimir Putin's Russia.
Matt Canavan, always great to talk to you. We won't hold you up any longer. I know I can smell that steak sizzling away just behind you. Have a great day there in Queensland. Thanks, Matt Canavan. Always great to chat to you.